What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Man, it's been long overdue, but I got Corey the Boogeyman Walton. I got him. I got him. He's in the building.
I'm here.
What's up, Corey? How you doing?
Man, I'm great. I'm sleepy, but I'm great, brother. You look good.
Man, thank you very
That's a good,
much. Thank you.
that's a good look for you.
Man, thank you very much. It's cold in here. It's cold out. It's cold outside. Is it cold out your way?
Yes. Yeah. It's supposed to get down into the 20s next week.
Ooh. Well,
Yeah, that's cold.
I thought it was bad out here. It's only in the 40s, 43.
It's probably 30 some right now, but next week's supposed to be a big cold snap come through. So we'll be out there delivering with all of our clothes on next week. We're gonna have we're gonna have layers and layers on next week, baby.
Oh shit. Man, so Corey Walton, man, Corey Walton. So it's been a long time since I known you, since I followed
hmm
you, since I've been following you. Um,
hmm
I've always wanted to get you on the podcast, and the funny thing is, it took till I saw you in person out there in San Francisco,
hmm
and I saw you, and you came up to me, and you were like, "Hey, Bubba, how can you not? I'm offended that you never asked me to come on the podcast."
Yeah, I'm like the 20th person you've got on.
Man, not even. I think it's only been like five, but
Feels like 20.
it feels like
It's
20,
it's the
right?
di- it's the disrespect of it all.
God, God bless. God bless coming at me already. But yeah, so I was like, damn, I gotta get Corey on the podcast. I know this guy's busy. I was like, man, he's every time I see you on social media, you're running around,
hmm
you're everywhere.
Just got back from Richmond, Virginia,
You know,
yep, a couple hours ago.
my mom's from
Okay.
Norfolk,
It
Virginia.
was a great time, man. We had a ball. They had their union meeting and had a fat ass spread there, man. Christmas dinner, money. It was a good time though, man. We had a blast.
Who from the CLC went with you? Everybody?
James Henry, Pam Donato,
Nice.
and James is so sick, he can barely speak. But he went up there and he did the best he could. He did a good job, but he can barely speak. He's been sick as a dog all week. I didn't know if we were going to have to cancel or not because when he'd called me, you could barely understand him.
Oh my God.
But dude's a warrior.
Oh, well, I keep on telling him when I talk to him, like, man, James, they're gonna have to bubble wrap you. Man, you're
He's everywhere, man. I think he's going to like six places this month. Yeah, and this was my last one. I was supposed to go up to John Cruz. I'm going to have to cancel that. And I love John Cruz.
out of New
You
York,
know,
uh,
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Love that guy. And but I'm gonna have to cancel. It's affecting my carrier's choice leave, and so and I'm on leave without pay. So I've been on leave without pay for about 3 months because I used all my leave up going all these places during the at the beginning of the year. So
Ah,
I'm on leave without pay. So yeah,
God bless. God bless. Leave without pay. Man,
that's some good shit, ain't it?
they're gonna try to come after you if you use the leave without pay, are they?
They don't come after me, brother.
I figured.
I run this motherfucker here.
So what part of Tennessee are you in?
Nashville.
Nashville.
I'm in Nashville. I'm not in Memphis, where your poster there, the man himself.
And have you ever been to Graceland?
Yes, you.
Never. I want to
It,
though.
it's not what you would think. You think, this is Elvis Presley. It's going to be this big ass mansion. No, it's like you're driving down the street. There's like car dealerships over here and all this, and then over here is a gate, and there's just this ordinary house right here, and they're like, "That's it right there." You're like, "Really? That's the king's house? That's it?" You go in, it's kind of exotic inside. He had all those crazy ass rooms, but it's like just an ordinary house you see driving down in the neighborhood.
Man, how long ago did you go?
Oh, it's been years. I've been a couple of times, but yeah.
Bitch. Man, you one up me. You one up.
Well, Memphis is a good Memphis is a good spot. My son went to college down there, so we went down there quite often. But yeah, it's a good little, got some good barbecue down there. Great diners. I love going down there for that. But yeah,
You got to.
anytime you come in,
You know what?
we'll go down there.
Well, you know what? My nephew. Well, a friend of the a family. He's quarterbacking out there in Tennessee. Joey.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna try. They're gonna see if he could stay another year.
I hope so.
So, man, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I can get to the next game.
Well, now that's complete opposite ends of the state. Knoxville's way up east. Memphis is complete opposite way to the west. You're talking about 6 hours
Now,
drive.
if I take like some vacation time, though, I can make it happen.
You can make it happen easily because you can go up to Knoxville, come by. You can come by my crib and chill with me. Go down there to Memphis, barbecue, Graceland,
Yeah,
make a day of it,
yeah, I
or
can't.
three.
Man, so Corey, how many kids do you have?
I've got three, and then with my beautiful wife Tracy, she's got one, and so that makes four. But I've got three of my own and a grandson.
I
They're
seen the.
34, 32, and 30.
Oh, so the tribe's already grown up.
Yeah, I'm old. And so my grandson just turned 12 on the 4th. So yeah,
Man,
I'm an old man, dude.
you don't look old.
I'm old. I feel old. I walk like I'm old. I walk like an old beat up cowboy. You know what I'm saying? Just those rough knees and shit.
But y'all run hard. Y'all run
Oh,
hard. Like I go to bed, I'm in bed by 9. And
yeah.
you guys are running hard.
We some hard motherfuckers
I
now, let me
can't even
tell you.
believe it. I cannot believe it. Like
We're all over the
I walked into
place.
that room in San Francisco and I was like, God damn, it's like a sorority. It's like a party in here. It's like you ever seen the movie Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks?
Oh yeah.
That's what it felt like. Like, what is going on up here?
Yeah, you walk in, I'm standing there, I look over, I said, my man's here.
I couldn't
Kind
believe
of gave kind of gave you that look like, all right, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like it just
the biggest
long
guy in
lost,
the room. I
yeah,
see.
like cousins. Hadn't
Yeah,
seen each other a bit.
that shit was so good. Man, the love, I want to talk about the love that I felt in that room. Like I've never met you guys in person.
Hmm.
Heard you on the radio. We've talked on the phone a couple times. Um, we've mostly text, but the love in that room, like if I try to explain it to people, but the love that you feel in that room with just the energy is something.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that's what it's about. You know, a lot of people talk division. A lot of people talk about that. You know, the CLC's here to divide. It's the exact opposite of that. You felt that. Um, everybody is welcome here. Everybody's welcome in this union. Everybody's welcome in this movement. We're going to need everybody. And so that's what's different about it. You know, everywhere we go, though, Rick, everywhere we go, it's the same thing. It's that love. You feel that just like when we in Virginia, uh, you could feel it there wherever we go. People drive an hour and a half, 2 hours to come and see us. And it's just a family. And that's what we preach. You know, it's you got to love the city, let her care. Hell, you've heard me say that a million times, but you got to love the city, let her care. Everything else is going to fall in place. And you felt that when you walked in the room.
Oh, no doubt about it.
That's what it's about. It's about the division stuff. It's all going to take care of itself. When we win, the division stuff's all going to take care of itself. You know, the establishment obviously does not want us to win, and they're going to do everything humanly possible to keep us from winning. We're going to win. There's nothing they can do about it. But yeah, they're going to do everything humanly possible to try to keep us from doing that. You'll probably see some names pop up out of nowhere that are going to try to run against us. Doesn't matter. But it's because this movement is based on the love of the city letter carrier. It's the workroom floor. It's the rank and file. It's the first time that this has ever happened, and they're fixing to see next year what love will do, and that's what's going to win this thing overwhelmingly. Is because it's about loving your people, man. About loving the city, let her care.
Man, there was so much love in that room, man. God damn, it
Yeah,
was a lot of love.
yeah. That's a good. It's a good
Everybody
time.
was hugging. Everybody was hugging. I was like, man, it's a good thing I got showered and put some cologne on. I'm hugging everybody. Everybody wanted to take a picture. Like, damn.
Yeah, that's a good time, wasn't it?
It was a good time. It was a good
Yeah,
time. And for some people that are like over 50, y'all, yeah, you guys run hard. There was no
yeah,
stop. There was no, you guys were just fuck.
yeah. It's nonstop. Next year will be worse.
Man,
You know, we'll be going. Yeah, we'll be going everywhere next year, trying to get to as many places as we can.
man, how are you feeling about the convention next year?
L.A.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hell of a time. That's gonna be wild. It'll be it'll be a spectacle.
Because everybody hates Renfro out in California, right?
Despise him. Yeah, and so it'll be James's home turf. Just like in the Warriors, you gotta get to your turf. He's finally gonna make it back to Coney Island,
And
his turf.
we'll see how many bodyguards he brings to LA.
You don't need none.
God damn. You know what I want to know though? Like he's got these bodyguards that we pay for. Like,
Mhm.
can I borrow one? Like when I go, like, can I borrow
Well,
one of the bodyguards?
yeah, can you loan one out?
He's got to be able to loan them out, right? We're paying for it.
Yeah, but why do you need bodyguards? Because to me, you're a big dude. Uh, if somebody tells me, sends me a message, hey, when you come somewhere, we're gonna talk. Okay, all right. You we was talking the other day about, we're gonna scrap.
Yeah.
And so but to go out and get bodyguards, it just shows you who he is, man. He's a child in a grown man's position, and he doesn't know how to do anything. He damn sure ain't a leader of men, but I mean, when you do things like he does, you leave yourself vulnerable to people trying to retaliate on you for certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt about it. No
Yeah.
doubt about it. So like Corey, to run it back, for the backstory, um, before I met you, uh my branch my branch was not running up to par. And I was like, man, how do I learn? I want to learn, son of a bitch. So I just went on Spotify and I'm typing in JCam. I'm typing in just I'm typing in keywords to see what pops up. And I saw from A to arbitration. I start listening. First episode goes by. I felt smart. Second episode goes by. Felt pretty smart. And I go back to the office and I'm like, I tell one of the ladies in there, hey, I found a podcast. It's called From A to Arbitration. And she goes, oh, you started listening to it? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, yeah, Corey? And I'm like, mm-hmm. She's like, yeah, he's really good. He's like, but he could be kind of too much at times. And I'm all, damn, I fucking love it. Make a long story short, I keep listening and I get put on a 16/7. And this is when my sister was going through the last months of her life. And I get on a 16/7 and I'm like, damn, get the removal letter. I think I sent you a text message or a message on Facebook. And you were like, man, give me your number. Gave you my number. And one morning, when she was having a physical therapy appointment, you called me. And I was like, oh, shit. I look at her, I'm sitting on the couch. That's Corey Walton. let me go to your room. I got to take this phone call. So I go in there, answer the phone. I'm like, hey, Rick, this is Corey. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, you sound just like you do on the podcast. I'm out here on the route and I hear you, you're working. You're like, tell me what's going on. And I'm telling you what's going on. And you're just like, boom, boom, boom. This is what you need to do. Write this down. Get a note. I got my notepad. Uh, you're like, the supervisor said that he's scared for his life. Did he call 911? No. Did he call postal inspectors? No. Did he call this hotline? No. But he was scared for his life. Write this down. Write this stuff down. And by the time I got off the phone call, I was like, this is somebody I don't even know. And he's about to save my fucking ass. Right? Like, holy shit. And I'm like, dude, I'm a fan. This dude is for real. Like, it's not just some kind of like, I'm not just a podcaster. Like, dude, I'll get with you. Like,
That happens all the time.
yeah. And just to be, yeah, speak on that.
Yeah, I've done that. I talk with people all the time. Hell, I put my number out there for people to call me, and they do. And around my route, I talk to advocates that have issues. I talk with people that are dealing with removals for their carriers and whatnot. We'll talk for hours, man, while I'm walking around, telling them what they need to get, what they need to do, what they need to look at, questions they need to ask. But going back to the young lady that used to listen to me, I have become too much for a lot of people. I've lost a lot of listeners because of my language and how I've attacked my union. And that's okay. I'm not going to change for anybody, Rick, but I'm not happy with my union. You are a perfect example. You're kind of getting let down in some things. And so when you see that over and over again, because I wasn't used to that, I've got a great president, Dana Chambliss. I've got a great Formal A, Jason Leith, JB, and I wasn't used to that. And so when I see my people are hurting, if you love your people, like you say, then that's going to make you upset. And so I started cussing a lot and I lost a lot of listeners. And the business agents used to put me out there. They used to say, hey, listen to this guy. He's got great education. And then I start turn my sights on them and they was like, now every one of them hate me. And so it is what it is. It's a good trade-off though, because I'm not going to change who I am if I lose 10,000 listeners because I get upset with my union. I don't care. And so I'll keep doing what I do.
But the thing of it is, Corey, is you cuss a lot, right?
Mm.
The thing of it is with that Southern accent, does it really count as cussing? Because it doesn't sound like cussing when you have a Southern accent.
I
It's
don't think so.
it's one of those things when you got the Southern twang,
Yeah.
that's cussing.
No, not really.
Not really. It's entertaining. Like
It doesn't count.
it doesn't even count. It don't
So
count.
you can look past that.
Exactly.
I'm just speaking from the heart.
Yeah, with that Southern drawl, like it might be
And see,
different.
I don't hear it. And that's what's so funny is you hear people or you'll see people online talking about, you know, wish they could say words like I do in that Southern drawl, but I don't hear it because I've lived it. So I don't hear what they're talking about with my voice with that Southern drawl.
Oh, it's there. It's there. And that's why cussing is so damn it's so that it is what it is.
I get right sometimes, don't I?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
man, I when the salted peanuts started, I think that's when it went to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Salted peanuts. Because then
Yeah.
everybody was like, I can't wait till another salted peanuts. Give me another.
That's everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
When you people reach out to me, we love this and that, route inspection, that look good, salted peanuts. And it's funny because, wherever I go, Rick, even yesterday when we was in Virginia, when they introduced me, they're like, this is Corey Walton from the podcast. Y'all just be ready. It's fixing to get lively. And so, even last night, I was like, can I speak freely? He's like, speak freely. I said, yes, sir. And so people say, we want Sunday Corey, not Wednesday Corey, but I don't do Lions Den anymore. But that's what they want. And I'm not like that though. You and I talked
Yeah,
when you
not
would
not
talk,
one
I
cuss.
don't cuss at all. During the week, don't cuss at all.
Yeah,
I don't cuss.
punching shit.
Yeah. And then I get on here, just like tomorrow, I'll do my episode tomorrow.
Salty.
Um, and it'll be another salted peanuts. I'll probably cuss a lot. I don't go into it like that, but I got screenshots of what management's doing to my people, and it makes me angry, and so I'll probably drop a few.
Man, so do you take any blood pressure medicine before you record, or are you just going in there,
No, go in there raw, baby.
going there raw, baby? Going there raw. Man, Corey, so man, we're gonna do a first on my podcast. And
All right.
what I mean by first is this is gonna be the first podcast where Corey Walton
Mm-hmm.
is gonna shout out Brian Renfro and
Mm-hmm.
Paul Barner. And I want Corey Walton. I want Corey Walton to give these guys their flowers. And
Mm-hmm.
what I mean by that is without these two guys, we would have no we would have no Corey Walton. We would have no
Mm-hmm.
CLC. As bad as they are, um, I as bad as they are, I have to give them props. I have to show them love because they fucked up so bad that something fucking so good is about to happen.
Yeah. And that's what's funny, Rick, when you say that, is because so many people, and you're going to hear this a lot coming out next year when the establishment, the good old boys, when they come out, they're going to come out after me and they will talk about experience. He has no experience up here. His only experience is on the workroom floor, and that's going to be their thing. You know, what experience does he have? Look at his experience, and that's the reason we're going to win is because look at you talking about Renfro and Barner. What good has the experience done us now? Uh, you're right. I'm thankful for both of them for being so fucking terrible. They've exposed what it is. Rolando did a good job of covering that up, of the corruption that was up there. And then you have Renfro kind of get, boosted up in there. He didn't do anything to earn it. And he exposed it for what it is. It's just a bunch of corrupt, dumb fucks up there that have no idea what from their ass in a hole in the ground. And so I am thankful for both of them. Paul Barner, Pony Boy. I'm thankful that he's such a fucking coward because if it was not that, he would just be in his position. You would never have Corey Walton as EVP. I'm thankful that Renfro, if we're going to be giving some flowers, I'm thankful that Renfro has been such a colossal fuck up because the city letter carrier would never know what a true leader like James Henry would be like.
Yeah.
They're going to be blessed with James Henry, and I know that for a fact. So, yeah, you got to get them some kudos for being that completely incompetent. I'm thankful that they're incompetent. It's been a blessing to the CLC, their incompetence, because you're finally going to get, after all these years, true fighters in there, people that understand what it means to fight for the city letter carrier. And you'll have the establishment. Trust me, they're not going to go down without fighting. They're going to come out with some kind of slate. I don't know who it's going to be. There's a lot of rumblings about different people. It makes odd bedfellows, when you're fixing to lose the good old boy system, the network, the establishment. it makes for some odd bedfellows. So I think you'll see some individuals that you probably haven't heard from come out and throw their hat in the ring. They've got to. There's a lot of people behind the scenes trying to get somebody to come out against the CLC because they cannot give up. To them, what's their birthright is that the national level. And so, yeah, I'm thankful that both of them are so completely fucking incompetent that it's going to make a change like this, because look at the change. You're talking about James Henry putting a slate together that is the complete opposite of what you've got.
Yeah.
Wholesale changes as far as the resident officers, MBAs, wholesale changes. And so it's a good day, man. It's a great fucking day for the city letter carrier to have somebody so fucking incompetent like Brian and Paul and others, because it finally exposed National for what they are, just a bunch of corrupt fucks. And so, yeah, I'm thankful that they're that way, because if not, we would have never known how deep this was, how bad this was, the corruption that y'all are fixing to find out about next year when you talk about spending, which will make everybody sick. The amount of spending this guy has done, spent us to death. And you would never know that if it wasn't for us getting in there, finding it, and all this other shit. But yeah, so I'll shake both their hands next time I see them and tell them thank y'all for being so fucking incompetent.
Man, and I'll shake them too. I'll give them a pat.
Yeah,
I'll give them a pat on the ass too.
yeah.
Smack on the ass.
Appreciate you too.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys too, man. Because there would be no from A to arbitration had you not been pissed off at the way shit was going, right?
It wouldn't have been like it was. Now, I got approached before Brian was president. Remember, because he came on my episode before he ran. He came on my podcast and did an episode, a kind of a question and answer period that lasted 3 hours. And so I was just doing education then. And then I realized quickly that my union was a colossal failure. Management's management. They're always going to be dishonest. They're always going to be thieves. They steal. JB next week, he's going to do an episode.
Oh,
He's coming back finally,
baseball
back into the
season's over,
fold.
huh?
Yeah.
Baseball season's over.
He's coming back next Sunday, and he's going to do a fantastic episode on how management steals. And so, yeah, management's management. They're always going to be that way. You just got to have people that know how to fight them. We do, and how to control them. We can, and how to get them to stop a lot of things. We will. And so, unfortunately, what you have right now are people that have no idea how to fight. They're incompetent. They wouldn't know what to do in a fight, and that's the reason we're getting run over right now, is because of, it's not about the city letter care. It's about the status quo.
And to the guy at the national convention that really rattled your cage when you went out there during COVID, and they were like, yeah, you can't be here.
Yeah,
You can't be here. Well,
yeah.
I got this from my doctor. I can't take the vaccine. Well, yeah, you can't attend.
You know who that was?
No.
It was Paul Barner.
Oh fuck. Thank you, Paul Barner. Thank you.
Here's how I knew I set up. I knew that I heard early on somebody had messaged me saying, "Hey, your business agent's setting you up." And I said, "Okay, I got it," because they didn't expect me to get in. They didn't expect me to make it through with my paperwork, because I had to bring my paperwork to show them to get in. And so my business agent calls me. He's like, "Hey, man, where you at?" And I said, I'm in." "You are?" You could tell he was shocked. "You are?" I said, "Yeah, I'm in." I said, "I had my paperwork." And, "Oh, okay." He calls back a little bit later. He said, "Hey, since you made it in, I want you to nominate me." Look, I've already got the person that's going to nominate me. I've had him for 6 months, who's going to nominate me for EVP next year. You have that set before you get there.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "I want you to nominate me as business agent." I said, yeah, man, I'll do that. I said, I'll nominate you. And that's when somebody told me, said, hey, dude, you're getting set up with that. And I said, well, I figured because you already have those people in place that are going to not, you don't just find somebody up there at National and say, hey, Wednesday, will you nominate me to be business agent? And so when I sit down, it's that Wednesday is going to be the nominations. And he brings me a piece of paper. He says, you need to sign this. I got to hand it to Fred. You're going to nominate me. And then he said, you know, I've already ran it by this committee that you're going to be allowed to nominate me. Everything's going to be fine. I've run it by this committee, only to find out there's no such thing as a committee. There is no committee. And so his line about that, I'm going to sign it. And I look at him because I know as soon as I sign this, I'm gone. So I get the pen, I'm fixing to sign it. I look at him, I said, so all you need is my signature, huh? Yeah. I said, all right, brother. Sign it. He takes it. It wasn't 10 minutes. I never seen Paul Barner. He's a little bitty dude. I've never seen him. You know, he had his mask on, and Steve comes up and he's like, hey, man, this is Paul Barner. I said, okay. Said, he needs to talk to you. I said, all right. Well, Steve takes off running. He says, I can't be here for this. So he knew coming down what was fixing to happen. He didn't let me know. So it was funny. Paul Barner takes me to the back. Now, Paul's short, you know, he's a little bitty fellow. He's talking to me. You can tell this motherfucker, he does not want to be there, right? And because I'm looking down at it, man, you know, it's come to our attention that, you know, you're not vaccinated. I said, yeah. I said, I can't get vaccinated. He said, well, you know, you can't be in here if you're not vaccinated. I said, well, I'm a registered delegate. I said, I was voted to be here. Yeah, you can't be here if you're not vaccinated. I said, well, I got these papers right here from y'all, emails right here. We think you misread the email. That's when I got mad because I read it on the show. You know, it says you can go. And so I'm looking at him. He won't look at me. And so I said, you know what, brother? This is my exact words. He'll never say that, but I'll say it to him if we ever meet, if he says I never said it. I said, brother, I said, I think you're a punk ass bitch. And he looked up and I said, whoever sent you here is a punk ass bitch too. I said, you go tell him that. And then I said, I've done more to educate the people in this room than all you motherfuckers put together. And he said, man, I'm sorry. I said, you sure the fuck are. So I took off walking, went down there. Steve was sitting there about halfway in the middle. So I walked over to him and I pointed him. I said, did you know what was fixing to just happen? Huh? What? I said, did you know what was fixing to happen? And he takes off running after me. Man, what happened? What's going on? What happened? So it was that type shit.
Thank you guys for that.
That
Thank you.
lit a fire.
Oh, rattled the cage, all right. Man,
Hey, look what happened. All of them motherfuckers are fixing to lose their job now.
yeah.
Not because of me, but it's shit like that. All them motherfuckers are fixing to lose their position because they just can't quit fucking with people.
And it went, you know, it's fucking crazy though, because it went from I'm not running for no position. I'm not doing nothing. I just want to do my podcast and help
Mm-hmm.
the city letter carrier. I got I don't know, like 5 years to go or something like that. 5 or 6 years left, and I'm gonna retire. And then look what happens.
Yeah.
Like they woke up like it's like one of them Godzilla movies. Like they fucking woke up. God's
Mothra.
yeah. What the fuck did we? They're probably like, what the fuck did we do?
Why didn't you go kick his ass out?
What the fuck,
Why didn't y'all just let the man stay? But they're trying to make a statement, you know, by doing that.
man? And you know, you said that you had Brian on your podcast. Man, you've had
Mm-hmm.
everybody on your podcast, right? And like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you've had people on your podcast that I actually liked. When you did the podcast with him, I'm like, that's a good fucking podcast. That dude's pretty fucking smart.
Yeah.
And then you just see like over the horizon, and you're like, holy fuck, what a trash bag.
Yeah.
It's just
It's difficult, when people need you, they needed this podcast to get their voice out there, to get, because if it wasn't for this, people from coast to coast wouldn't know them. And so they needed this. And then once they no longer were allowed to be on this, you saw their true colors.
they got that
And
sparkle.
so, yeah, that's what's happening is you're seeing a lot of people's true colors. They never had anything other than themselves, you know, in mind. And so, but I mean, hell, that is what it is. Um, Renfro was on here. You go back and listen to that episode. That motherfucker didn't do nothing but lie.
You had Noble,
And
right?
Noble was on here several times.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what's going on with his case. Um, I don't know if that's still going forward or not. I've not. Usually he'll reach out to me and tell me what's going on with his lawsuit, but I hadn't heard anything lately.
Man, just stay healthy out there, David Noble. Stay healthy.
Hey, that you got to give it to that dude though, man. He's smart.
Yeah, he's old though, right?
He's old.
Man,
Yeah,
stay healthy. Man, bundle up. Put an extra jacket on when you're out there in the cold, like
the stocking cap,
stocking cap. Yeah, take care of your health.
some wool socks,
Two pair, two per.
and some long handles. My mom calls them long handles,
Long
long
John.
johns. Yeah, you ever heard of long handles? Some long handles. That's Southern. I don't. I guess it's Southern.
Oh my God, Corey. So as we pull into the next parking spot, we're talking about all the bullshit with like past leadership. Um, I want to talk about, since you're a podcaster and you reach tens of thousands of people. Um,
Mm,
in the past, like you've had like these past leaders, like say some Sombrado or
yeah,
Orlando. Um, Social media wasn't too heavy back then. So I feel like, they kind of got to hide behind the curtain a little bit because they put out what they wanted you to see.
hmm,
And they didn't get any blowback from like the membership.
yeah,
Um, Now, and we're living in a day and age where everybody's an armchair quarterback, and
yeah,
people can talk shit online. They can make the NALC shut off comments on their pages.
hmm,
They're so far in the dark ages, that they don't even understand social media. Like podcast, we'll do a podcast too, and we'll call it Fight Like Hell podcast. That's what we're
yeah,
gonna do.
yeah,
They're so far behind. And my question is, has it always been so fucked up? But with the education and the reach that social media has, and the information that's just like connected to our hands is just right there, um, it really exposes them.
yeah.
And
Well, you got to see their soft white underbelly, of the union. And now, Sombrado is Sombrado. He would have done whatever because that dude was a legend. I mean, he was a man's man, true union guy. Um, he understood. He was one of us. First off, he was. He's talking about these strikes and stuff. He's in his uniform. You know what I'm saying? And so he was one of us. You got others. Billy Young. You look at him. He always, to me, he was that fire breather. Whenever you heard him, he came to my station. um, and talk to the carriers, and he just had that, charisma about him. He had straight hair, and then he would perm it. It was a if you ever seen him, he permed his hair as curly, kinky curly hair.
Oh, young. I think he rolled through Napa one time. I think
May have
he came to a branch meeting many years ago. If it's
very charismatic.
did he have a little mustache? Did he have a mustache? I can't remember.
I don't think so,
Still
but
young.
he came to my station, um, and talked to my carriers, and so that was one of the highlights of their lives. And then you had Rolando, but he understood the business side of it. Was there some shady shit? Yeah, there's going to be. The problem is they put somebody in charge who had no business being there, and that's Renfro. And that's where this all started unraveling. It did not help that you had all these podcasts out. They're going to throw your business out there in the street. Business agents, you really start to see who were good and who were not. Their business gets thrown out there in the street. Hey, look, when I'm EVP, my business is going to be thrown out there in the street. I'm not going to be immune from that. And so, and rightfully so, you need people to hold you accountable. What you can't do is be dishonest, and you can't rule with no integrity whatsoever. And that's what we're dealing with right now is people with no integrity. When you have no integrity, when you rule by dishonesty, your shit's going to get thrown out there. And so the best thing to do is always be honest, run yourself with integrity. You don't have to worry about anything. That's why I say, if you love the city letter carrier, if you fight for the city letter carrier, hell, you're one. If we lose, you fought for me. That's all I can ask. That's what I'm paying you for, to fight for me. You got a podcast, Fight Like Hell podcast. The problem with Renfro is that he's never done anything. He's never been one of us for any period of time. He has no stories to tell. I can get on here and tell stories all day long of shit that's happened, shit that's gone on. People send me stuff that's going on the workroom floor. We'll talk about that, these whiteboards, just, different things like that, whatever the flavor of the month is with management. And we'll get on here and discuss it. And you'll hear me rant, rave, and cuss and stuff. And then you listen to his, and it's milk toast. He has no story to tell.
Yeah.
It's white milk. And so it's just boring as shit. And he's not a leader of men, and he's not a motivator. And so if you're not a motivator, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're a coward as far as when it comes to management and collective bargaining. You sell your people down the river. What have you got to offer me?
He
I don't
can
want to hear a
talk.
fucking podcast from you.
He can talk.
Motherfucker can talk. He can talk, brother. He can talk. I'll give him that. You talk about handing out some flowers. I'll give the motherfucker some flowers on that. He can talk for 5 hours
Now taking a
straight
drink.
without a sip of water. Tongue just fat as fuck, but he can talk for 5 hours and not say shit. I've never met anybody that can do that. That's a skill. That's a talent. That's a politician.
Yeah.
He'd be good in politics. He'd be a good politician for Mississippi. When he gets beat, go back to Mississippi and be a politician. I think he'd go into management, but my man can talk. He talks smartly, like I say. He's a smart talker, talks smartly, and he can say a bunch of shit.
It's funny you bring up politics. You bring up the politics because he's a politician.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes on another podcast and he says, "I don't want to talk politics." Motherfucker, you're a politician. So what are we going to talk about? Bacon? Cookies? You want to talk about bacon cookies, or what you like? A
Yeah,
7 and 7? What's in a 7 and 7? What are we talking?
yeah.
Like,
Lawn care, shrub care.
it's so, yeah, shrub care.
It's
How do you trim it? From
it's
the bottom
trimming.
or the top? It's
It's trimming.
it's fucking ridiculous. But like
Yeah,
these people, back with the social media and everything, you know, they put like the deaths, like Mr. Gates,
yeah,
anybody else that's died from heat. the attacks that are happening to letter carriers, the delayed mail. Oh, they're delaying mail over here. We got falsifications over here, and
Mhm.
they're just so exposed, right? But then what I think is, you know, when the CLC takes over, like you guys are smart enough and you have people that actually understand the tool, like the new tools. Like these motherfuckers are still using like stone hammers, and like you guys got like fucking sledgehammers. Like
Yeah.
know how to work shit.
Yeah.
So like I feel like you guys are so battle tested and will know how to perform going
Yeah.
forward, where these people just have no fucking clue.
It's that they've not fought. And people think, they're so cliche. They've not fought, they've not been in any fights. Man, that means something, Rick, at that level. It means everything that you have fought for something. You look at Pony Boy, and one of his biggest claims to fame, and surely this can't be true. I don't know whether he was just saying this, bloviating or whatever, but he says that all these years that he was at the DRT, he never impassed one case. I cannot believe that to be true. That cannot be true. But then he gets up there with Lloyd and these others, and he concedes everything, which leads me to believe that is probably true, that he didn't impasse anything. Same thing with Renfro. He wasn't a shop steward for any period of time. He was a terrible formal aide. The RAAs down there at the business agent's office, would always tell me that he was pitiful. I know that they cringe when they hear me say that. I'm not going to name them by name, but
Y'all know who
they
you
always
are.
talk about how sorry of a formal aide he was. People in Alabama would talk about how when he would do training, it was an embarrassment. He was a state president of a state, Mississippi. It's a great state. I love Mississippi. I've been to every inch of that state doing arbitrations, but there's not many members. I think there's more members in the city of Memphis than all of Mississippi put together. That
Wow.
tells you there's not many members. So he was the state president. He had one arbitration, and then he gets pulled up with Lou Drass to go to national because he speaks smartly. Be careful with that. Because you speak smartly does not mean that you know how to fight. You're not a warrior. And it makes all the difference in the world. If you're going to be in a street fight, I don't want somebody who's going to talk somebody to death. I want somebody who's going to knock somebody's teeth out.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. And that's what we need right now. We need people that are battle tested on this workroom floor. You look at the memos that I've always talked about. It was the memos to me did him in 1983 when he put those times on memos.
Fucked us.
And we're still getting, I'm going to read some shit tomorrow on my podcast. They're still going after us with these times off these memos. To me, if you're battle tested, if you're on the workroom floor and you understand management, you never put times on memos. If I have step fours, Rick, that say that there is no street standard, I've got several. I read them all the time. There is no street standard. There's no standard for walking. And you put on a memo something that contradicts that, saying that there's parameters. There can be no parameters on the street because I have no street standard. There can be no average on the street for anything, for parcel delivery, for whatever. There can't be averages. There can't be parameters because I have no street standard. And so when you do that, you crush the city letter carrier. Now, this is the president of the union that did that. I would not allow that in my station as a simple shop steward. If my supervisor came up to me and said, "Hey, Corey, during this next route inspection, look, we've timed y'all on these 39.99s, and it looks like y'all's averages for parcel delivery is 2 minutes. And so we're going to use a 2 minute standard or a parameter. Will you sign that for me?" That's how much sense that makes. And this dude signed it for the entire country, saying, "Yeah, I agree that there's parameters." Um, Devastatingly stupid to do that. But that's what we're dealing with. And then you get him on a podcast, and he's boring as fuck because he's not done anything. He has no stories to tell other than what he's been told. And it's like just reading the fucking J Camp. Boring as that would be, that's what it's
Corey,
like. But
Corey, those parameters though that he put into effect, like the loading fucking parcels and all that other
mm-hmm.
bullshit, wasn't that just supposed to be for that joint route inspection process that's done?
Yeah, yeah. Even though it was supposed to be for the process, you still had us questioned in the process. You still had carriers that were questioned about if they went over 22 minutes, they were questioned about that. And if they didn't have a good reason, they were deducted that. Why? If you got stationary events and he allowed the scanners to be held against us in this process, talking about stationary events, if we could not come up with a good explanation, they would deduct that from our route. That's not the union's job. That's management's job to, if they see something that I'm doing, to get their fat ass up and go out there on the street and watch me. That's in their handbook, the M39, talking about section 134. That's what they're supposed to do. Why would I help them with that as a union? I'm not going to help you with that. If
Yeah.
you say that they're doing something wrong, go out there and watch them. And if they are, write it up. But I'm not going to help you with that process. And that's what I hated about PRAP, is that my people were going to go in there and question my people about, why were you sitting here this long? Man, that just runs all over me just saying that.
Yeah.
You're talking about 22 minutes of load time. Well, okay, what if it's 25? Why were you 3 extra minutes? Fuck you. Because I was,
Vehicle check.
but that's what happens when you put parameters on things.
Yeah, but like after the T rap was done with, man, you would almost think like, all right, that's expired. So like,
Oh, they had it though. They had it in their hand then, baby.
dude,
They had those times in their hand. Still doing it today. You still see it. I got a good friend, Butch Lyle, who was in management. I talk about this all the time, but Butch and I were on the safety task force together. He was management side, and I was the union side. And we would go out on the safety task force, and we led the area in accident reduction. We did a good job. But then he goes down to Florida, and he's a bigwig down there in Florida. And he's the one who called me and said, what were y'all thinking signing those memos? And I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. I said, what are you talking about? He said, those memos, the route inspection. He said, what were y'all doing? What were you thinking signing that? He was my mole. I mean, anything that was coming down, Butch would tell me. He's retired now, so I can say it. He can't get in trouble. But anything that would happen or was coming down the pike, he would let me know. And so that's how I was in the know a lot, is because of Butch. And so, but yeah, he's like, these memos, this routing, this joint process. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. He said, yeah, it's coming out. He said, y'all sign these memos. He said, wait till you see them. And immediately when I read 1983, I knew what he was talking about, those times on the memos. Because you cannot let management open that Pandora's box. You cannot put times, you see, and that's what I was talking about when he was on the episode. I was like, they're going to bastardize that. And he said, yeah, they'll bastardize it. We'll just file grievances. Man, you can't put us in that position
yeah,
nationwide.
because now we're back
Anything
on.
that you, no, anything that you look at and you say, this right here may be used against my people, I'm not going to sign that. I'm not going to do that because y'all can't act right. Y'all will never act right. This right here is going to lead to some abuse. I'm not going to sign it. But it's just the joint process. Don't care. I know how y'all are. I've been on this working floor too damn long. Y'all can't take nothing and not fuck it up. And so, yeah, that's their problem, is that they've not been one of us long enough. Look at Paul, like I said, when he goes into these meetings with Lloyd and tells the DRT no more cease and desist. And he allows Lloyd to raise his voice at our people. That's never going to happen.
Yeah,
I assure you, that will never happen in a meeting that I'm in. Nobody from management will ever raise their voice to one of my people, ever.
and taking
And
arbitrators off the panels. Like, what the fuck?
crazy as fuck because of a decision, because of Memphis. And then he's telling people it wasn't that good of a decision. You talking about the most monumental decision ever given as far this dude took out a district manager and three managers. It wasn't that good of a decision. Lou Drass, he's a crazy guy. What? But that's what we're doing when we talk about the establishment. If it didn't have my name on it, they'd probably think it was the greatest thing ever because my name was on it. They're probably like that was a shitty decision. It's Corey. What does he do? That motherfucker just loses.
He,
But yeah,
that never happened. That never happened. Oh,
yeah. And
uh,
then having an arbitrator amend a decision out there in Region Two. If I'm that business agent, I've got three sets of shoes in his ass for doing that. I would kick a pair of shoes up his ass and get another and kick that motherfucker up in his ass. For amending a decision that would help the city letter carrier, you had management call him and have him amend. Can you imagine that? We get what we want to help with non-compliance, which is one of the biggest killers of us, is non-compliance. Management won't comply with anything. You finally get an arbitrator to say, hey, y'all are going to pay the union share. You know how fast they're going to start complying if arbitrators across the country start doing that? One of the biggest costs we have is arbitrations. And if we say, hey, we're going to arbitration, we're going to make y'all start paying our half too, you know how fast the motherfuckers are going to come into compliance? When they're not going to have, when we're not going to have to pay anything, y'all going to sit there and pay all of our due, all of our share. And yeah, you talking about some compliance? Motherfuckers comply then.
but
But
it's almost like some bully tactics though, Corey. Because man, once an arbitrator gets fired from a panel, do the other arbitrators say, "Hey,
oh, they know.
did you hear about so and so got fired because
Yeah, they have
gave a good decision? What about us? Does
they
it
have
weigh our decisions?"
they have meetings amongst arbitrators where the postal service and the union will be there and speak to the arbitrators, these arbitrators conventions and stuff. And so yeah, they talk. I had arbitrator Mayer was an arbitrator. He was one of my favorite ones, and very fair. He had retired from national at at the APWU. A very smart guy. This dude was brilliant, and he knew his shit. He wrote very good decisions too. And his decisions were very well written. And that sounds silly because most of them are, attorneys and judges, but his stuff was really good. And I had that case in Gadsden, Alabama, the gun case, where the station manager brought a gun in on the floor and she just had it in her purse. And it was a silver plated 357 and had it in the purse and the carrier saw it. And so it turned into a big ordeal. We went to arbitration. They tried to present a postal inspector's report. I raised hell about that. So the arbitrator, as Arbitrator Roberts, did that. He remands it back, give them the postal inspector's report, and they can, it'll be timely. They can put that in. That helped us a lot. We go back. It's in front of Arbitrator Mayer. I have this email that was given to us privately. I introduced it, and it was from the advocate to the witness talking about you lied the first time, So I put that in there to discredit the witness. It was a shit show. Well, Arbitrator Mayer, he fired her. He didn't remove her from supervising city letter carriers. He fired her. He said the Postal Service removed her from service. And so they immediately blackballed him. And so it was in that meeting of all the arbitrators that labor goes up to him. And he told me, he said, they're pointing their finger at me. He says, you're not going to be on the panel anymore because you do not fire management. And so they did that in front of everybody. So yeah, absolutely. Shit gets around. So they're just trying to intimidate people to rule against us in the JSOV. And so yeah. And the very next case I had with Mayor was a JSOV case. And so I go in there and he's looking at it and he looks at me and I was like, man, I'm sorry. It's like, but
So
yeah.
how does that get reformed? Where you're where an arbitrator is like, I'm bulletproof. Like
Yeah.
since that system sounds broken as fuck, like
Yeah.
because your decisions are swayed.
I would almost like I would almost like there to be an outside entity to assign arbitrators. Because now the union does it, Postal Service does it. They come together and they'll say, here's my six, here's my six. We don't want that one. We don't want that one. We don't want that one. This one's fine. And they'll do the same. We don't want that one, that one. And then we'll keep going back and forth. So
Like
they'll
Corey
get
doing
some of theirs on. We'll get some of ours on. And then that'll be the panel. And then if we say, well, this one for y'all's ruled for y'all 95% of the time, they're off the panel. There's nothing they can do about it. If they do it to us, there's nothing we can do about it. If you went with an outside entity, if you went with an outside agency and said, hey, y'all are going to assign the arbitrators, y'all handle the arbitrators, and then you get what you get. Postal Service said, we don't want that one because he won't rule for this. Tough shit. They're these are people that we have researched. They understand contract language, how to apply the contract fairly, just by the case file. They're not put on by the union. They're not put on by management. Something like that. I'm sure they have looked at that in the past. I don't know, but something like that.
and that's
You
what
know,
that's what pisses me off, Corey, because these cases are black and white. These cases are black and white. It's not, well, it's kind of blue.
yeah.
It's
Well, kind of orange. that's the reason I will always say when I did arbitrations is when people ask me, how's it look? It's 50-50. I don't care if I had every procedural due process violation in the country in this file. If management didn't perform any investigative interview whatsoever, they didn't give us any information that we requested. There was no concurrence. The who's who of procedural due process violations, if they had all of them in there and the grievance said, how's it look? 50-50. Because I've been in some shit where we've won overwhelmingly and we lost. And so it will always be 50-50.
It's like Las Vegas. I remember when I called you, uh, and it had to do with COVID cards years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm sitting in a meeting, and I was like, let me call Corey Walton. Go out to the hallway. Hey, Corey, what do you think about this? What do you think about? I'm having this meeting right now. And it was a EEO meeting, and
yeah.
I was just trying to get back to work. Um, and I think I did well, but when I got on the phone with you and we were out in the hall, and I was like, Corey, what do you think? And he's like, you were like, I don't think I don't think it's good. He was like, but if you go to arbitration, he was like, it's 50-50. Like, you could lose. Like, there ain't no
Mhm.
guarantee. And I was like, okay, that's my answer. Like, let me just get my
Yeah,
ass back to work.
yeah.
Let me just get my ass back to work. Like,
It's always 50-50.
it's so like I feel like, man, we see shit on the news, Corey, and we see things in the post office, and I'm just like, dude, it's just, the corruption I feel like is everywhere. And when you have the money that these people are making, like you have Brian Renfro making what, over 350 G's. That motherfucker gets paid regardless of how long the contract takes, what decisions he makes, what memos, numbers he puts on a memo. Like, that
Hmm.
check comes in and it hits his bank account and he's got
Yeah,
funds no matter what. Like, so there's all kind of things where it's like, well, maybe that motherfucker's check needs to stay in and be held until our shit is fucking
yeah,
passed. Like, you ain't
yeah,
eating until we eat. So you
yeah,
work for, like you always say, like, hey, you guys work for us. So
yeah,
you ain't eating until we fucking eat. How about that,
yeah,
bitch?
yeah, yeah. But you look at corruption, you're talking about corruption on the Postal Service and corruption with the union. And here we are just trying to work, just trying to survive. You got a corrupt employer and you got a corrupt union and us in the middle, completely getting fucked over. And you finally got hope. And that's what James Henry and the CLC, and that's what people are clinging on to right now.
It's
When you
hope,
talk about this movement, it's a movement of hope. There is
integrity.
finally hope for us because the Postal Service will always be corrupt. It's who they are. You've got to trust that your union will not be. That is your agent. That's the one that you will get behind in times of need and have your agent stand, like James says, 10 toes down and taking the brunt of this shit. Problem is right now is there's no hope for the carrier with the current administration. Now, like I said, you're going to have the establishment try to save the establishment. The good old boy network would definitely try to save it. They're running all kind of scenarios as far as who can run, who can be in this position, who can beat this person. Who This is going on right now. I know that for a fact. Is that there's a bunch of different scenarios of a slate that can beat the CLC, and that's constantly changing. You hear this name pop up, then it'll die down. You had people coming out of retirement doing podcasts you've not heard from since July, trying to put their feelers out there. You got business agents that will probably start to try to step up to say, hey, it's me. Look at the CLC. You got a city letter carrier running for executive vice president, no experience. You're going to see a lot of that shit coming up here. And so, the good old boy, they're not going to go down without a fight. It's just they're going to lose. And so it doesn't matter what scenario you put out there, we're going to whip that ass. And so it really doesn't matter. But that's what's going on right now is you got 1,000 different scenarios of this person, this person, this person. No. What about this person, this person, this person? Maybe. What about and that's what's going on right now behind the scenes is they're trying to find somebody, anybody that can challenge James Henry's slate.
Yeah. What horses are we going to run? What horses are we
Yeah.
going to?
Yeah. Who can do it? Who can win? You got, I do know that Rolando run as a trustee, and they're trying to do something, anything to keep their foot in the door, and not get completely vanquished
They're going to lose.
by the CLC.
They're going to lose a foot. That it,
Yeah.
that's
The,
all.
the
That's
end of it, whatever's sticking in that door.
yeah. Um, One other thing is, early on in the podcast, your podcast, you talked about sheeps and you talked about possums.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, I see you guys too. You guys are like the sheeps in the in wolves' clothing, or
Mm-hmm.
is that saying right? But
The
you
wolf in sheep's clothing.
you call them
But
possums, and
yeah,
that's fucking so true too, because you
yeah,
see on the local level, you see leadership that has been in those leadership positions that are so fucking comfortable. Like they're so cush, like don't have to carry mail, and they're just so chill. I feel like they stopped giving a fuck. Like
yeah,
we're cool. We're cool. Then when the CLC comes around, I don't know if it's like, well, oh fuck. I think we better get it. We better fall in line because we might be fucked.
yeah.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
there's a lot of them like that. That
I think so too.
yeah.
And
But the possums, is just any sign of a threat, they play dead. And that's what's happened with our leadership is that, the Postal Service has run over us because our leaders are playing dead and getting run over. And they're the only ones between us and management. It's our
yeah,
union. And if they're all playing dead and get run over, hell, it's us. And that's what's so beautiful about this movement, Rick, when you look at all these different podcasts, is that our leaders are possums. They are playing dead, getting run over by the service, and who have they met head on? The city letter carrier, educating ourselves, educating the city letter carriers. And it's the city letter carrier that has stood up and say, come on, motherfucker, let's go.
and started
And
advocating for
yeah,
themselves.
yeah, we'll do it ourselves until we can get competent leadership in there. And that's what's happened. The Postal Service has run over our leadership. Motherfuckers are playing possum and did not expect what they saw, and that's the city letter carriers waiting for them in the street, educating themselves, standing up for themselves, and we've been in a battle with them for ever since Renfro's been in there. We've been in a battle because you have Renfro saying that the our brother, Mr. Eugene Gates Jr. death, the hell we raised about that. We were just wanting a pound of flesh, which would be an all-time epic, stupid statement by him. And then you have with them running over us with the stationary vents. I say this all the time. That's just an inconvenience to y'all. And so that's, our leadership is like that. The battle's going on the field, and our leadership are on those horses up on the hillside watching the city letter carriers fight, like in Braveheart when you saw Longshanks up there watching the battlefield. Was the city letter carriers in the battlefield? It should be your Union down there, but they're not. It's the city letter carrier. But his time's coming.
I can't wait. I
It's coming.
can't wait. Corey, another thing, and like I know you love the city letter carrier. Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody can ever question the love that you have for the city letter carrier because just with my experience with you, you didn't know me from a fucking hole in the ground, and we're
Mm-hmm.
just all about it. Like I got you,
Yeah.
but you're a father of three.
Mm-hmm.
You raised adults.
Yeah.
Um, now you're in your 50s, and I'm about to be
56.
50, 56. God damn. And I'm about to be 50.
That's what I say,
It's
bro.
past it's past his bedtime right now. It's like
What time? It's 10.
all right, we won't go too long. But you
You're fine, man.
but you're a dad, and I
Yeah.
had my dad. We grew up in a certain time um, where there was discipline. Um,
Mm-hmm.
my dad, he raised me with open fists and closed fists and
Mm-hmm.
belts and whatever he could throw. Uh, my dad was one of those guys, Corey, and he was probably like 5'6". And here I'm big, like I'm like 6 foot in like junior high,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't call me by name. He would always just call me boy, like, hey boy, 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 let's go play catch, go get the gloves. And so we would go play catch in the front yard, toss the ball back and forth, right? And if I didn't throw the baseball right to him,
Mm-hmm.
and not up here or over here, or if I missed him and he had to go get the ball, like I was fucking scared, dude. I was fucking scared because he would throw fucking Randy Johnson
Gas.
at me,
Yeah.
like scared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, one thing that I've noticed, one thing that I've noticed being in the post office my whole life, like I went in there when he passed away and we cleaned out his locker. And this is when we actually had good management. And they were like, hey, do you need a job? Like it's just you and your sisters. And I was like, hell yeah, I need a job. So like I was just fresh out of high school. So there was no the opportunity to say, I'm gonna join the military or I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna go to junior college. That was out the window. It was go make money, go be a casual, go be a CCA, go be a casual clerk. Man, the managers, they were so fucking cool back then. We actually had managers in the office that like did shit. We had human resources in the office that were there when you needed shit. And they were like, yeah, just stay here until the test comes around. And you know what, Rick? All you'll need is a 70. You know what? Just score a 70 and you're in here.
Mm-hmm.
They show me so much love. Like I'll always have gratitude and love for the postal service, the old postal service that was there
Yeah.
always. Because man, I would not be where I am right now without them.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, And here's where it gets kind of funky because we talk about discipline and man, we've got a lot of letter carriers out there and people, carrying mail that don't have the discipline. Um they do funny shit, Corey. Like I know you've seen videos where carriers are doing some shit that they shouldn't be doing, and
Mm-hmm.
and they post it like on social media, and you're like, what are they doing? Like, are they really dancing on a fucking cage right now with a scanner on? Like, are they really driving down the street with doing this and just doing some crazy shit? Like, they can get fucking fired right now or written up or 16-7. Do they really know what they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
My question to that is, like I said, like I know you love the letter carrier. I love the letter carrier, but like with that discipline, like when you have your kids, if you're driving the car and your kids are in the back making noise, kicking and kicking your seat, and they're like, hey, calm down back there. I'm driving. When does it come to the point where you're like, hey, if you don't stop, I'm gonna reach back there and smack the shit out of you?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I feel like that needs to happen
Yeah.
because the culture has been so far diminished to where you have carriers that have been around from back in the day that are like, this is nothing like it. This is nothing like when I was a carrier when I started. Like now these people work off the clock. They don't do this. They don't check holds. They they just don't do their job. And
Yeah.
that's
Well, there wasn't a
that's on
there was an yeah, there was an investment back when we started because you had to take the test.
yeah.
You're talking about making 70. You had to take a test. That's an investment because you had to study. You go to the bookstore, and you'd get the civil service booklet and you'd study that son of a bitch, the memorization part, the quick fire stuff. And there was an investment in that. They did away with that. You can come straight in off the street. But I'll always put everything back on management. That's how I am. When I first started the post office, supervisors, station managers all wore suits,
Yes.
suit pants, dress shirt, tie,
Shiny shoes.
suit jacket. Yes, they all wore that. They respected that position. Now you go in there, you got spandex, you got shorts on, you
Uggs.
got sweats on, you got flip flops on. You got people that'll sit there and they'll eat all damn day at the desk. They never have to do anything. There is no supervision anymore. It's all about teleconferences, looking at a computer screen, and they have no standard themselves. And then they want to come to my people and say, hey, now y'all need to act right. And so I always put it on that. When they stop respecting themselves and their position, it basically took away from any respect that the carriers, some carriers have. It's all a big jumble of bullshit. Like I said, you take away the test, you take away the investment, initial investment. You don't pay them anything. You don't pay CCAs anything. They can go anywhere and make more money than us. They come in here, they get piss poor supervision, treated like shit, and you get mad at them because they go out there and make a video having a good time. And so I'll always put it on management
Yeah, baby.
because I despise them. And so,
But Corey, how,
but
how does the CLC how does the CLC kind of change that culture within? Does that happen? Can that happen?
yeah, I say that it starts with, I've always said an educated workforce is a devastating thing.
Yeah.
You've got to educate the workforce. Supervision, like I said, they will come out there and put you off the clock for wearing shoes. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. Wearing shoes that aren't union shoes or postal shoes, whatever. Put you off the clock for that. Yet these motherfuckers will come in, like I said, wearing spandex with a tank top, putting us off the clock because we don't have the right shoes on. And so, we'll make sure that there's no double standard anymore as far as that's concerned. But it's tough. When you have carriers that aren't making any money, uh, they make barely enough to survive. Piss poor management. They're working themselves to death. And it's just a different day. When I first started, you came in making a living wage.
Yeah.
You could live off of what I made coming in. And so you can't do that anymore. And that's a failure on our union's part. But yeah, I know what you're saying, but it'll never be the carrier's fault.
I know. I had to ask.
Yeah.
I had to fucking ask you. Um, you've also said, on your podcast that you would never hey, I'll never lie to y'all. I'll never
Yeah.
lie to y'all. And
Hmm.
the one day, the one day that you fucking lied to me, I had fucking tears in my eyes delivering mail. And no, it wasn't that day. There was no tears, but it was the day that you were like, I used to play third base.
Baseball.
This motherfucker, this motherfucker
for
lied.
for the Mariners farm team. Throwing a ball to third and
Blew out
my
my knee,
shoulder blew up.
on my shoulder. I was like, God damn it. Hey, that was a hell of a story, though. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But other than that, you've never lied. So I got to give you your
No.
props on that.
And that's what's funny is that the establishment, they need me to be a liar. They need it. They want it. They'll say it. The things that I say about certain people, I've never lied once on my podcast, but they will come out and just, Corey, somebody needs to hold him accountable for all his lies. All he does is lie. And everything I've ever said has come out to be true. And so, but the establishment, they need me to be, there's a difference between a liar and somebody, you need to be a liar. And so they need me to be one. They want me to be one. They can't believe the stuff that I say is true about people that they love and support. And yeah, so there's no reason for me to lie. I don't have to lie.
Yeah.
You're either going to vote for me or you're not. It's that simple. If you don't, I'm going to be delivering mail for 6 more years and then I'm going to call it a day. And so I'm not going to lose anything. Do I want to be EBP? Yeah. Will I be successful? I'll be very successful because everything I've ever done, I've been very successful. Informal, formal arbitration advocate because I take the time to be successful. I hate failure. And so I know that I'll be a very successful EVP. But if people don't want that, no harm done. I'll just deliver mail. But we'll win. But yeah, there's a difference between a liar and somebody need me to be a liar. The good old boys, they need me to be a liar.
Yeah.
They want me to be.
Man,
I'm
like
not going to be. Don't
Judge,
have to be.
Judge Judy always says, when you tell lies, you have to remember it. You better make sure you remember the lie. If you tell the
Yeah,
truth, you don't have to remember it. You just know it's the truth.
it's just the fucking truth. And that's the reason, you have to have James. He's the only one amongst anybody that has any integrity. The only one. Nobody running, nobody that will run, nobody that they can get to run has any integrity. It's just how it is. They don't have any integrity. And that's one of the biggest killers right now is that you can't trust anybody up there, which is terrible. I need to be able to trust my leaders, and I don't because not a fucking one of them has any integrity. Nobody running against James has an ounce of it. And so that's the reason I think James will win overwhelmingly. He's overqualified for the position because of his resume.
James
The
Henry.
dude just has integrity in
Charisma.
spades, man.
He got charisma, integrity.
Yeah, yeah,
He's got the magic.
yeah.
Not a
I
lot of
agree.
not a lot of people got the
And
magic.
and people will see when he's president the conversations. I've had conversations with high level people. Like I always say, everybody at that level is smart. Renfro's smart. It's just he's stupid as fuck, and he's an incompetent leader. And that's what's going to kill him is that he's incompetent, and it will cost him his job. And he lies. So when James sits down and talks to me, like we had lunch today before I got on the plane, when he tells you his vision and his plan, you're like, fuck, it's going to be another year. It's going to be another year till the carriers can experience this. What he has in store for management, for the workroom floor, the things that he has in place for that. And it's going to be a year, and I hate that. Like I said, we're running on hope, and that's what's going to get us across the line. But uh, dude is a genius as far as the contract, how he's going to implement things. You look at Paul Bolanger, the director of education, coming in, and the stuff that he's going to do with him. And so, yeah, man, I can't wait.
Man, what about Rob Kosher?
Rob, big money Cozier.
Yeah,
I love Rob Cozier. You ever talk to him?
I've talked to him a couple times.
Laid back, chill, highly respected.
Out in Milwaukee.
Uh, yeah, highly respected, and knows his business. He's the exact opposite of me. I'm gonna get on things and cuss motherfuckers out. Rob just does his thing, man. He's a silent assassin, like Kamitra. Kamitra knows her business, understands the mission, and is she's a star. And so, yeah, those two understand the position, what it's going to take to be successful. You're not going to see them out there doing cartwheels and shit wherever they go. That's just not their nature. But they're about the business. Long ago, I said, be about that action. That's one of the very first things I would say way back when I first started. Be about that action. If you're about that, you'll be successful. Be about that action. Both of them are about that damn action. And so they know their position, the position that they're running for, what was required of that. James, like I said, talks to us constantly about what's expected of us, what we're going to be doing, and things that will be done. And yeah, Rob he's just that person that extremely smart, understands the position, what's required of him, how he's going to do it. And I love the guy, man.
Man, and another thing, with these names like Rob Kosher,
Mm-hmm.
if there's one thing about the CLC and from A to arbitration are these last names. Is it Kosher? Is it Kosher? Is it this? Is it that? Like, man, I
Yeah,
don't even know these people's last names anymore.
yeah.
I
Is
have
it
to ask, like, hey,
is it Kriebel or
is
Kribel?
it
Is it Bill Kriebel or Bill Kribel?
is it
I,
Gro- is it gross? Is it Grosskopf
or Groskopf.
or Grosskopf?
And
Like,
he's gotten in my ass every time I've said his name. He'll message me, you motherfucker.
I love that guy. I
It's
fucking love.
gross. Oh, that dude's a stud.
He's fucking awesome. Dave
That dude's a
Grosskopf. Put them together. I love that
he
guy.
can he can hold any position. He could run for any position and hold that position. He's that damn good. That dude's a stud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, but you look at just the trustees, Howard Khomeini,
Uh,
John Cruz. Those guys could run for any position and do well. And that's what I love about James's slate. They're all interchangeable. Look at Kamitra Simpson Lewis. When Brother Gates passed away, and I talk about this all the time, you had your president talking about we were just wanting to pound the flesh because we were burning shit down at the time.
yeah,
We were hot that our brother got done that way, and then how management lied on him, saying in the paper that he had gotten his hip training. Come to find out it was falsified, and your president wouldn't take that nationally to arbitration, which he should have. He dropped the ball on that. And who was it that stood out? Who was that was in all the papers? Who was it was on the news? Who was it that was coming to Brother Gates' defense? Burning management to the ground. Kamitra Simpson Lewis. I didn't even know who she was. I just read her name and I brought it on my podcast. I said, "Here's your president right here."
yeah.
I'd never met her.
I remember
I
that.
never met the lady. Yeah. I said, "Here's your president right here. This is how your president should act. Your president should be out there saying, hey, the motherfucker said that he had the hip training. They're trying to get the ass off of them. They falsified it. But they're trying to put it on him that he had this hip training, that it's his fault. They're trying to get him off of them. We're not going to let them do that. They're not going to get away with that." And so, no, they falsified his hip training. And then they sent scatter messages, keep it moving, beat the heat. After they discipline the man for something they can't discipline him for, Kamicha's doing all that. She's burning shit to the ground, and your president's up there telling people that it's carriers who just want a pound of flesh here. They're just, that's who we got as the president. But Kamicha Simpson Lewis, she could be at the top spot
Oh yeah,
very easily,
and she
and
smiles.
she's about the damn business.
Yeah, she just smiles. She's soft spoken, but man, she
Yep.
she throws hands.
Up
She'll
about
throw
that
hands.
action. Yeah, she got hands. Yeah,
She got hot hands.
I wouldn't fuck with her. But and it's a sweetheart, a fantastic lady, but is devastating.
Ethel
Devastating.
Ethel Bibbs.
Eth- Ethel Bibbs. You
Yeah.
ever heard her sing?
No, I haven't.
You gotta get her in karaoke.
And well, at the convention, let's make that happen in LA.
She'll do it.
Oh,
She don't care.
oh, I'll do it too. Let's go.
If the,
Ethel
if
Bibbs.
there's a
Definitely.
microphone, she'll sing. She's fantastic karaoke.
Oh man. Um, the time you had me crying. I brought up the
My
time
brother.
your brother.
Yeah.
I want to
Mike.
talk. I want to talk about your brother,
Yeah, Mike.
Mike.
He was that dude was to this day, I've never met anybody as funny as Mike. And he will if people will still say that, like when his see he died at 41, I'm 56. He was 17 months older than me, so 15 years ago, I think that would be. And yeah, died of cancer. And you know that fight, you know that struggle,
Yeah,
what that looks like, you know. And so but yeah, in school, man, this dude was all world. Everybody loved him. Everybody wanted to be around him. He was infectious. The personality. My daughter, crazy. You can't mention his name. My daughter won't start crying to this day, and she's 30 now. But that was her person, my brother. I mean, they were thick as thieves. And so, he worked for bossed Harley Davidson here. And I remember at the funeral, I don't know if I talked about the funeral when all the Harleys drove up. Did I
no,
mention that?
no.
Yeah. So when he passed away, he worked for Boss Harley Davidson here in Nashville, and worked there for a couple of years. He worked as a police officer, then he was also worked at Beeman Automotive and made really good money there. But he worked for the Harley shop, and when he passed, we had the funeral at Harpeth Heights. That's the church I go to now, and he's down there in his cat. He asked to be buried in his hat. He had a Harley hat, asked to be buried in that, so he had his hat on, and we're all up front. A lot of management was there. They came and showed their respect, which I thought was pretty cool. Because I'd been giving them hell for years, and it was packed, and you could hear this rumbling like thunder, and everybody starts coming out of the church, out front, and it's louder and louder and louder. You look down, and there's about 150 Harleys coming down the road to his funeral. And just the sound of that, I'll never forget that. And that's I don't cry, but that's when I broke down, is to see that respect. And they all came up. They all had the yellow cancer band on, They took all of those off and put them on Mike in the casket, all those yellow bands. So his casket was filled with those yellow armbands, fighting cancer. And it was very touching, very moving. He was buried at the VA and cemetery here in Nashville, but that dude was a character, man.
Man,
He kept me in fights because he ran his mouth so much. He didn't care who it was. He was going to run his mouth to him. He talked more shit than anybody I've ever met. And he just, you know, I told the story about the young lady from Overton High School that she was heavy set and had nobody to go to prom and loved Mike. And her mom called my mom and said that, asked if some chance that Mike would take her to prom. And so she gave Mike the phone. He said, "Yeah, I'll take her." And I'm gonna try. I remember you saying that you wanted to see a picture. I'm gonna try to see if my mom still has that picture of Mike and this girl at prom. I think she does. I think it's up in his old room. But yeah, that just shows you who he was, the person that he was. He was giving. He'd give you the shirt off his back, and he's just an outstanding, outstanding human being, and was funny. God, that dude. There's nothing he wouldn't do in front of anybody.
Ricky
And
Mike.
yeah, but talk that shit, man. That dude talked more shit. He kept me in fights. I never, I wasn't somebody who fought, but because of him, he kept my ass in fights, man. It was always something because, people be like, "Hey, man, your brother's fighting somebody after school." I'm like, "Son," because, I got to go out there and ride with him, it's my brother, so it was just always something. I think I told the story about at the basketball game when the guys came in or looking for him. I think I told that story, but it's one of the funniest ones because it just shows who he is. And we went to Hillwood High School. We were playing Overton, which is about a mile from my house right now. Overton High School in basketball. We were at Overton. And so we were all sitting there. Mike was sitting about 15 rows down. Me and my friends were up at the top and playing. And you saw this guy and a couple of his friends come in. Now, I think this guy's name was Gary Hargis, and he was the biggest kid at the school. He was a football player, and he came in with some other football players, and they were looking for something. They weren't there to see the game. They're looking in the stands, and you see one of them point, and I'm like, please God, don't let that be point at Mike. And they're pointing, and he's like that. You can see him mouth. That's that motherfucker right there. So they're coming up. I was like, please God, don't be coming up there to Mike. Sure enough, he comes over. Mike sees him, stands up. He said, "Come on," like that. It's just him. There's three of them, and that's how he was. He's like, "Come on, come on." And so they're walking up the stands. So I told my friends, I said, "Well,
I gotta
I
go.
got to go down here." I said, "I'll be back, hopefully."
Dude, was
But
he
I go
like,
running,
how
huh?
tall was he? About your height? Were you guys around the
Here's
same
my
height?
height. Here's my height. He was a bit stockier. He was stockier, but I was thin. I was about 170. Mike was a bit stockier, and Mike could really fight. He was a good fighter now. Me, not so much. I'll just get in there, and just try to scrap with you. But Mike was really good. And but yeah, so I go running down there, to stand with him. Like, God, this is gonna be terrible because they're gonna see me get my ass whipped over there, Overton, and my people are gonna see me get my ass whipped. I said, but it's just gonna have to be whipped because I ain't gonna leave my brother down here. But that's just it. Nothing happened. They just talked shit and they left. Uh, but that was Mike, man. He was quite the character.
Man,
He
I,
was something else.
I know you have to think of him every day. I got to give a shout out
Yeah,
to Mike Walton. Um,
yeah,
I know you're thought of every day. Um,
that's true. And my mother, still to this day, you can't say his name, and she don't start saying Christmas is going to be terrible
yeah,
because she'll be sitting there. It never fails. Everybody be sitting in my old house. It's still where I grew up, 214 New Sawyer Brown Road in Bellevue. And so we'll all be down there in the den and yucking it up and everything. And you'll look over, she'll be crying.
yeah,
And she'll say, it's always, I miss him so much, wish he was here. And that's 15 years that's gone by. Doesn't matter.
yeah.
Doesn't matter. She's still gonna cry about Mike. And that's your baby. I'd be the same way. And so, but Mike was special. He's something else.
He sounded so special, man. You guys had a
Crazy.
you guys seem
Dude was
like
crazy.
y'all seem like Ponch and John though. Like
Yeah. He was
you see one, you
that dude.
love it, man. But
Yeah, he was in the
Corey, losing your brother like that, I lost my sister, um, and you have those days, it could be daily where you're like, man, I wish I could text her.
Yeah.
I wish I could give her a ring and just say, you know, hey, bitch, what are you doing? Oh,
Yeah.
what are we having for dinner? What are we eating
Yeah.
tonight? Um, we had a, our humor together was just slapstick, just like
Yeah.
funny. Like, hey, Dick, what's going
Yeah.
on, Dick? Nothing, Dick. Like,
Yeah.
and I think about her every day. And I know you think about your brother every day. But how do you deal like do you still go through like that grieving process, like, or do you just keep so busy? Is it moments that something hits you where you're just like, man, I need a minute, or is
Yeah. There'll be,
stuck in
I listen when I'm walking my route. I love every kind of music, country, rap, 80s, R&B, whatever's on the playlist that whole day, I'll listen to that, whatever that genre is. But, when you go back to 80s, there'll be certain songs that will put me in the station wagon driving around with Mike because we'd always drive my dad's station wagon to school. If there was any kind of school function, we'd drive my dad's station wagon and it would put me in that front seat with Mike going somewhere, doing something, sitting somewhere, talking shit or whatever. And there's certain songs that will do that.
yeah,
And so that's when you'll be like, damn, I miss that dude, man.
yeah.
But, 15 years to me, it's kind of, it's dampened a little bit. But yeah, there's definitely still those moments, and then you go back home and your old room is there and all the pictures of everybody's there and there's mine, you know.
And you know what, Corey? I lost my dad in 96. I lost my mom in 94. But there's times, like when the springtime comes around or the summertime comes around, like the light hits just a certain angle, or there's a smell in the air, like the leaves or summer, and you're like, they'll be coming home any minute. I gotta, man, they're gonna be rolling up here.
Mm-hmm.
Dad's gonna be home in like 15 minutes. We gotta straighten up, or we're gonna get fucking
Mm-hmm.
smacked down. Like
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go pick up the dog shit because he's gonna come and ask me, "Hey, did you pick up the shit today?" Like, fuck, got so much to do. But it's just like those moments, man. Like, and that's many years ago.
Yeah.
I still like there's some kind of clock. There's something that goes on, like some kind of imprint where you're just like, you look out the front door and you're like, they're coming.
Yeah.
you know and I think that's the hardest part, of dealing with like people that you love, because
Yeah. That loss. Yeah.
those people that we love, like they come with a price. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that price has to be paid. And it's not paid with money. It's paid by like this, it's paid by the love like you have for these people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to talk about your brother Mike, uh, because man, that dude had me crying when you were talking about the hospital and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah. But I'll never forget, they would come in and lay on him, the people that were caring for him, because, he was that infectious, his personality. Even up until, when cancer really got him, you turn,
yeah,
you're no longer in that, you know, where I could bring my kids up there to see him because it was too scary, because he wasn't him any longer. But up until that point, he was still mine. Crazy. When we were all, I think I talked about when we were all gathered around him and the doctor said, y'all need to tell him goodbye. I was on my route. My mom called me. He's like, doctor says you need to get here now. And so I run back, take my route back, get my truck, take off to VA, and hoping that I make it in time before he dies. Go running up there. There's about 15 people around the bed, and he's laying there. And he goes around to each one, telling each one what they meant to him, that he loves them. And he gave it, we get an opportunity to tell him bye. And you know, my mother, he closed his eyes. He says, "Hey, I'm gonna close my eyes." He said, "Whatever happens next, just know that I love you." And so he closes his eyes. My mom just lays over on him. She's bawling. And I felt so bad for the doctor because the doctor comes in there and she's screaming at the doctor to save him. You can't let him die. And the doctor's like, Miss Walton, we've done everything we can for him, and she's going crazy. Y'all got to heal him, and the doctor's like, there's nothing we can do. We've done everything we can. It's probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We're standing there, my dad's sitting beside him. He's holding his hand, just rubbing his hand. And Mike opens his eyes. He's looking around like this here. He's like, are y'all still here? That was Mike, just who he was. Are y'all still here? And then there was the time my aunt and uncle, I don't know if I told all this, I can't remember, but my aunt and uncle were there. And I would, every day after work, I'd go up and see them. And so I get off work, I go up there. My aunt and uncle are up there, and they just stand beside the bed. They're talking to him, and he's laying in the bed, and he's got his head turned to the right. They're standing over here to the left, and they're talking and talking and talking and talking. And I go in there and I sit down, and at the foot of the bed. They're talking to me, and they're like, "We've been up here about an hour, and he's been asleep." And so just like, well, since you're up here, we're going to go ahead and go. And it's like, okay, I'll get up, hug him, kiss him, bye, And I said, I appreciate y'all coming up here and keeping them company. And I sit down, and the door shuts, and he's got this eye, the left eye closed, and the right eye's open. He's like, have they gone? I said, they're gone. He's like, my God, I didn't think they'd ever leave. I'm like, this dude is weeks from death. And that's he's like, I didn't think they'd ever leave. And so, but that was Mike. I mean, he just up until the day he couldn't any longer, he was that person. And so I remember this huge black guy coming in, was a nurse. And we got to know him pretty well. And he hugged me and hugged my mom, hugged my dad. And he started sobbing and laid over on Mike. And this was when Mike was not coming back. Mike was still alive, but he was not coming back. He was out. If you know what I'm talking about, he was out of it. And he laid over on Mike and just sobbed and was praying for Mike, and praying for us. I'll never forget that. This huge guy is coming in and laying over on Mike's bed and just sobbing uncontrollably, praying for Mike and us. But the other nurses would come in, they would do the same thing. They would come in and two at a time would come in. They would lay over on him, hug him, hold him. And I don't know if that goes on with everybody, but I just thought that was pretty cool that, he made that big an effect on people. And then it probably was a week later, he passed on. But yeah, that was Mike, man.
Man, shout out to Mike. Man, you touched a lot of people. He touched a lot of people while he was here, man, and that's what it's all about. Um, man, and I think that just runs in the family because man, you're touching a lot of people out here too. Whether you like Corey Walton or you love Corey Walton, man,
Or you hate Corey Walton.
or you hate Corey Walton
Yeah.
because you don't know Corey Walton. So I mean that's why we have these conversations because
Yeah.
you got to talk to people in order to know them. Um, and that's why we're having this conversation. Uh, but yeah, God bless you, Mike. Um, it's getting late. So I'm gonna rattle off a couple more things that I wanted to ask you before I let you go.
Hmm.
You're a movie buff,
Yeah.
so what do you think? Tombstone or Wyatt Earp?
Tombstone.
Ah, yes. Okay. If you're going to the OK Corral, what other three people from the CLC, you being like Wyatt Earp? who's the other three that you're taking with who's rolling with you from the CLC?
Well, you got to bring James,
Mm-hmm.
the Marine. You got to bring John Cruz,
Okay.
Brooklyn, the streets. One more. So that's tough because all of them, all of them could fit that bill. Hmm. Kamisha, because she's gonna cut us on a bitch. You know, probably Kamisha, and so yeah, probably them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had you picking. I had you pick. It was you. I had James Henry. I had Bill Kriebel.
Krieber would be a great one. He's an MMA guy.
Freaking
You
Hunter.
know, yeah,
Yeah, I talked to that
he's
guy, and
yeah,
that
he'd
guy,
be a great one. Yeah, because he's a legitimate MMA fighter.
he's
That's
about it.
what he.
He's
Yeah,
he's about it. I'm like, and he gets excited. That's another thing. Like I had a conversation with him, Corey, and just getting to know him as a person. Like you get to know these people as the person.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't care what you know. Like yeah, you might know a lot. Like just like Renfro knows a lot, but as a person, he just seems like a tool.
Barner knows a lot. He
Warner,
knows a lot of the process, but it's not about. We're learning now the hard way. It's not about what you know. You got to
okay,
have heart. You got to have heart. You don't have heart,
you
you
got
don't need a
nothing.
position.
Yeah,
No.
man. So your wife,
Mm-hmm.
high school,
Tracy,
high school sweetheart.
my very first girlfriend back in 1984.
Uh,
The last time I saw her face was June 19th, 1986. June 19th, 1986 was the last time I saw her face until a few years back.
she,
I remember that. Uh, we saw each other back in 1984, and she was gorgeous. She was homecoming queen at the home at Pearl Cone, uh, which is an all black school, Pearl Cone, and so she was. I think she was the first white girl to ever get homecoming queen, and so she's gorgeous. And so yeah, June 19th, 1986 was the last time I saw her face. June 18th, 1986, I had a car wreck. It damn near killed me. And somebody hit me. I was sitting still. I was letting me and my best friend Donald Spencer were letting these two girls out of the car. We were going to go swimming and at Post Ridge Apartments. And so they were going to go in and get their swim trunks on. And so I was sitting out there waiting on them, and this car hit me coming. It was going 60 miles an hour, the police said. I was in an off road Volkswagen, had a cage around the engine in the back, and it knocked me through the back windshield, busted my head up, man. I had real long hair, and they had to shave this spot on my head and get all this glass out. Well, I looked like Prince because they had to put this white thing around my head, and my curly hair was laying over the front, is in the back. It looked pretty cool. And so that was June 18th. June 19th, I'm upstairs in bed, like I never drink, but I'm sure it's what a hangover would feel like. And my dad comes up, he's like, "Hey, man, you need to come downstairs." I said, "What's up?" He's like, "You got some visitors." I said, "Who is it?" He's like, "It's about 8 girls you used to go out with." I was like, "Oh, shit." And so I go down there. There's all these girls down there in the den, and they were going at it. I mean, they were they were calling each other all kind of names, going at it. So I come down there and I was like, "Hey, hey, hey, hey." I said, we're not going to do that." And Tracy comes up to the door. I go up to the door. I wouldn't let her come in around because they really hated her because of how beautiful she was. And so I go out there and she hands me a card. we talk for a little bit and she leaves. And that's the last I saw her face until a few years back. A buddy of mine, Brian, we would go on arbitrations together. He would always go and TA with me, and he would go with me everywhere. I drove everywhere, so he would always go with me. We'd have the best of times. And so we were driving down, listening to the radio, and he's like, "Man, the other day, this is probably 6 years ago, 5 years ago." He said, "The other day," he said, "I was sitting somewhere eating, and somebody came up, put their hands around my eyes from behind, saying, 'Guess who?'" He said, and of course I couldn't guess. And he said, turn around. He said, "Man, it was this girl I was in love with in high school. She didn't know it." He said, "Because she was, far out of my league." He said, and so we started talking. And he said, I told her, he's like, you were that girl that just did it for me. And she's like, "You should have asked me out." He said, "No, you say that now, but back then you have never gone out with me." She says, "Yes, I would have." He's like, "Man, did you ever have that girl?" I said, "Oh, yeah, it's Tracy Watson." Was that girl for me. She was always the one who I always felt, even though we went out, I always felt that, she was out of my league. And so I looked her up on Facebook and I was like, "Well, damn, there she is." Well, she was married, so I never reached out to her. And then one day she puts up a profile picture. I've been divorced for about 7 years at this time. And she put up a profile picture. And so I just said, "Hey, you've not aged a day since the 80s, you know." And she's like, Uh, well, I appreciate that, old friend. So I was like, you
Ah,
know, yeah, just kick me in the crotch.
ouch. Hey.
And so then I scroll on down to see who's, talking and stuff. And this one girl says, "It's so good to see you have a smile on your face since the divorce." I didn't know she had been divorced. So I was like, okay. Well, she messaged me. She's like, "Hey, so good to see you come across my timeline. What have you been doing and all this?" And so from then on, we struck up a conversation. She was in Israel. She travels all over the world
Wow.
and with her company. And she was in Israel at the time. And it's like, "Hey, you were the one who got away all those years ago. If you'd like to catch up sometime, holler at me." She's like, "Absolutely." And so shit, the rest is history.
Man, that's crazy how that's crazy.
That's nuts. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. So she traveled all over for work.
There she is right there.
Yeah, she's
You see
beautiful.
that?
Man. Hey, old friend.
Yeah. Whack, whack, whack.
Hey, old friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, damn, that's crazy. But so she traveled all over the place, but did she still live in out your way, out that way in that vicinity?
Yeah, yeah, she lived probably 20 minutes from me. I had no idea.
Crazy.
Yeah, all these years.
Pass each other.
Well, she would go to Toys R Us in Bellevue. Well, that's where I lived. And that's what she'll say today. She's like, "It's crazy that we never ran, across each other, back then because we're always at the same places." And but it worked like it's supposed to.
Yeah, it sure did. Man, well,
Yeah.
Corey, what is it? It's fucking late. You carrying tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
And well, I'm gonna give you the floor, and I'm just gonna, man, if you got some words for all the city letter carriers out there, um, all y'all fuckers in management, whoever you want to address anybody, man, the floor is yours. And then after
Yeah.
that, just man, head on up to bed.
Because it's past my bedtime.
I know, man, don't hit nothing.
Yeah. It's like 2 hours past my bedtime. I'm old. You'll see when you reach my age. You're still young. When you reach my age, 10 o'clock is like 1 in the morning. So,
I know.
but but hey, all of this, just like Tracy and I, it worked out like it did for a reason. I honestly believe that from 8 arbitration started for a reason, looking back. And it started because people trusted me to educate the masses on the things that I had learned through the years. Um, because I had no intent, I would have never done it if it wasn't for them. And to look back now, there's a movement that started not because of me, but because people started educating themselves. More and more podcasts started coming out educating themselves, and we're fixing to change an entire culture at headquarters at National because of the city letter carrier. And how monumental that is. You'll look back 20 years from now and things will be written about what's fixing to happen. And that's because the city letter carrier has decided to stand up for the city letter carrier. That's never happened before. And they've educated themselves. There is hope, and it's the CLC. Hope is coming. There's a lot of detractors. A lot of people hate me for what I'm doing. Don't care. I'm not stopping. Matter of fact, we're just getting started. Next year, we'll be out on the road all the damn time, going to see our people, meet our people, get the message out. And but it's a movement of hope, and the carriers need that now more than ever. But talking about Tracy and I, just how that happened. You just said that's crazy. Look at what's happened just because I went and bought an $80 microphone one day and started a podcast. Look at what's happened. And, you know, the carrier has changed the culture, and they're fixing to change the culture at National, and they're fixing to change the culture on the workroom floor. And those things are happening, and it's inevitable. And so we'll put a lot of get out the votes episodes next year. People like yourself that are doing a fantastic job reaching carriers. I'll come back on here again, and
Oh
we'll
yeah.
rail on some people. But yeah, man, it's just hold your head up. There's a lot of people that are discouraged, and I get it, but it's hope. That's what we're bringing is hope, and we're going to take over this thing with people that are comfortable fighting, know how to fight. There's a difference, in saying I'm going to fight like hell and having those people that are comfortable fighting. And you know what I'm talking about. There's a difference. People that love to fight, look forward to it, search it out. And that's what we are, those people that we're looking for a fight. And that's what we want. And there'll be no more conceding, no more cowardice, no more bending over in front of management and taking whatever they want to give us. Those days are over with, and you got real fighters coming in. But yeah, keep your head up, man. Despair is rampant right now, and I get it. But we're going to take this motherfucker back over next year and make some real change of it.
We're gonna take it back. We're gonna take it to the house, y'all. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
Pick six. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Everybody pack your bags over there in Washington. And man, hopefully Corey Walton, he'll when he gets over to his new office and he gets the postal cell phone, he won't change his other number and he'll still answer our calls. He'll still
I'll
answer
still be
my
here.
cell.
I'm gonna still be doing my podcast. Number ain't gonna change. People can reach out to me just like they do now, man.
Hell
I
yeah,
am who I am.
man. Well, we're gonna look forward to talking to you uh whenever you feel get the itch, you,
Yeah,
you want to talk. There's other podcasts out there that I know that are just down. I know Fed Up is down to have
yeah,
you and James Henry and Kamitra and all the heavy hitters. Man, it's funny with the CLC, man. You guys have a lot of heavy hitters, man, but you got the middle of the lineup. You got that bottom half lineup that still can bring the runs around, and it's fucking insane. So all you people that are trying to run for fucking national with nobodies, it's fucking over. Just fucking
yeah.
sit on the bench and watch, or get a seat behind third base and watch this shit. Mike Cariff, just watch. Just sit back and watch the game. You don't need to be in the game, okay? Fucking Brian Renfro, get some popcorn, get a fucking beer, and fucking just sit there and watch how it's done, dude. Watch how it's fucking done. YouTube, Barner, all of them, all of you guys, just sit and watch because fucking these are professionals coming in. And that's all I got to say about it. So, Corey Walton, man, get some sleep. It's fucking December. Parcels have been fucking something else. You're going to need every minute of that sleep. And tomorrow, when you're walking around out there going, God damn it, Rick, kept me up so fucking late last night. Fuck that guy. Hopefully, I won't make salted peanuts. I love you, Corey
No, no.
Walton.
I love you, brother.
I respect the shit out of you. And
Likewise.
yeah, we'll talk. We'll catch up again. We'll catch up again.
Look forward to it, baby. Look forward to it anytime.
All right, brother.
All right, my man.
Love you.